everyone, Shirin here. Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to share with you my tips and tricks of how to create a makeup look that is going to last you all throughout EDC without sweating off or melting off your face. This is also the perfect makeup routine for summer, just literally anywhere where you need your makeup to last all day, all night, and not sweat off your face. All the products that I'm sharing in this video are products that are tried and true. I wore this look to my EDC lookbook and we went out in the desert shooting for that and it got super hot. And guess what? It lasted through all of that and did not move at all, did not crease, nothing. It looked flawless. I'm telling you, this routine will work. Before we even get into makeup, the first thing you want to do is make sure that your skin is nice and prepped with the proper skincare. Moisture and hydration are key. And of course, sunscreen. So I went ahead and I already prepped my skin. I used some of Tropical Elephant's Umbra, which is their sunscreen. Behydra is a hydrating serum. And then also C Firma, which is just a vitamin C serum. Mix it all in the back of my hand and then just apply it all over my face. I also used the Derma E Hydrating Eye Cream right underneath my eyes and just like around this area to give them hydration as well. For this routine specifically, we're going to be using powder foundation and powder products. So if you apply those onto skin that is dry to begin with, it's just gonna look really patchy and not cute at all. So definitely make sure to follow a proper skincare routine. Alright, now that my skin is nice and prepped, we're gonna be moving on to makeup. The first product that you want to use is a nice primer. So you want something that's gonna be more of a water-based primer as opposed to a silicone-based primer. The reason for this is because silicone-based primers, despite how beautiful they can be and like how pore-filling and smooth they can make your face, they can be a little bit too slippy, and especially in a festival sort of situation where you're gonna get really hot and sweaty, it can actually cause your foundation to slip off. And if you're gonna be like touching your face or having things just kind of like come in contact with your face, your foundation will actually wear off a lot more easily than it would with a water-based foundation. Primer. So today I'm going to be using this one right here. This is the Bare Minerals Blemish Rescue Primer. So this one is really great for those of you like me who have oily, acne-prone, sensitive skin, but even if you just have normal or dry skin, this one is also really great because it gives you a really nice base for foundation. So I'm just going to take this and start to apply it all over my face. You don't need a whole lot. I want to say like a dime-sized amount for your whole face is perfect. Just as I do with my skincare, you'll notice that I'm tapping this product into my face and not necessarily blending it a whole lot. The reason for this is because I want to have an even application and I also just don't want to tug my skin. Now, moving on to concealer, I'm going to spot conceal all of these blemishes on my face. As you can tell, I am currently dealing with a round of breakouts that is not fun, but you know what? It'll be fine because by the end of this look, you can't even tell they're going to be there. So I'm going to be using the Milk Makeup Flex Concealer. I really love this one a lot for spot concealing because it does a really great job of that, and it's a concealer where it's more difficult to apply and it's drier. And typically I would hate that for a concealer. But for something like this, the drier it is, the better it is because that means it's going to hold up better in the heat. So basically something that's a bit more mattifying and not watery or runny or liquidy. If you've tried any sort of concealers that are more liquidy like that, you'll notice that they're not going to hold up in heat. Yeah, they're going to look beautiful, but as soon as you introduce heat, they're just going to start running on your face and not looking cute. The reason why I'm using my finger and not a brush is because I like the way that my finger warms up the product and it gives me more control over where I want to apply it and also blending it out. I just find the whole process a lot easier. I also like to take this on the sides of my nose just to kind of contour a little bit, and then also right here in these inner corners where I just experience darkness. And then we're just going to go back and blend it all out. Alright, now that we're done with concealer, I'm going to actually jump onto eyes and brows, and then we'll come back and finish up the face. When I do my whole routine, I just kind of jump around like that. I like to start with my base, go to eyes, and then finish off with base. It also gives the product some time to settle into the skin and just have a nice finish. So let's move on into this area and I'm gonna zoom you in. Alright, so I'm gonna prime my eyes with this NARS eyeshadow base. This one is just their clear one. I'm gonna take a little dot of this on both eyes and then I'm just gonna use my ring finger to blend it out. I love this a lot because it actually dries down to a beautiful matte finish that isn't thick at all. It's also really great at gripping your eyeshadow, so if you have oily eyelids like me and you struggle with creasing, especially for eyeshadow, this is going to be a game changer for you. Another great alternative is the Urban Decay Primer Potion. For eyes, I'm going to be going into the Lime Crime Venus XL palette. This one is just such a beautiful palette full of pinks. I also really love this palette a lot because the eyeshadow formulas for Lime Crime are just so pigmented, easy to blend, and they also last all day. Like, they literally don't crease on me. The formula is so good. I'm dipping into Scallop, and I'm gonna take this right into the crease as our transition color. For eyeshadow looks like this, you wanna take the lightest shade into your crease as your transition color. So since we are working with pinks here, I'm taking this light pink as a transition, and then we're gonna go back in with a deeper shade of pink to just deepen up this crease and give it more definition. But before we do that, I'm gonna take some time to blend real quick. So for this, I'm going to go back and forth in these small circular motions because I find that this sort of motion is the best for colorful looks. When you're working with any sort of color and you want it to stay intact and be really impactful and opaque, don't go in with these blending back and forth motions like those windshield wiper motions, because you're just going to help to fade away the color and drag it out. Whereas these circular motions really just keep it in place and soften the edges of the look. Now I'm going to tap into Passion and then go back in and darken that crease and focus it on the outer corner as well. For this, I'm only taking in the color to about this halfway point. The reason I'm doing this is because I find that it just gives a better definition to my eyes. If you're like me and you have almond-shaped eyes, this is going to help lift and elongate your eyes, whereas if I was to take this in all the way to the crease, it would actually make my eyes look a bit more like sunken in and just not lifted. Now with whatever is remaining on the brush, I'm just going to start to wipe that all over the lid so that we have a wash of color as a base. We're actually going to be going in with glitter, and I find that when I layer the glitter on top of somewhat of a colorful base, especially a pink like this, it's just going to help the glitter reflect in this super beautiful way. You want to avoid using any sort of cream-based eyeshadows for this because those are just going to melt off your face and not last at all. Powder eyeshadow is definitely going to be your best friend. Now I'm just going to go back and blend out Passion, which is this deeper pink color. Now with that same brush, I'm going to pinch the top so it's like this, dip into the color Scallop, which is that lighter pink that we just used, and then just drag this right underneath the lower lash line. And then I'm going to do the same thing and dip into Passion and focus this on more of the outer third. The reason why I squish the brush is because I find that it gives me more precision. So when I want to hit this lower lash line, I get this nice line instead of this really smoked out effect that I'm not going for. Now moving on to glitter, I'm going to be using this glittery eye quad in Rose Bronze from Pixie Beauty. I'm going to be taking this shade right here, which is this beautiful pink glitter. I'm just going to pick some up on my pinky and then use this to apply it to my eyes. You want to start from the inner corner and then take this out to about 3/4 of the way across your lid. Then with whatever is remaining on your pinky, start to blend the product outwards and upwards to give you a nice blend. I love this glitter a lot because it has minimal fallout and it looks so beautiful. Now moving on to brows, I'm going to be using this AOA Studio Sculpting Brow Pencil in the shade Dark Brown to fill in my brows. So basically I'm just going to use this to outline and gently fill in any of these sparser areas. The reason why I'm using this is because you want to use something that is a bit more harder to apply. So think of your brow pencil, something like this, or like that Benefit brow pencil. Those are going to be great. I find that with this, a little bit definitely goes a long way. You only need to apply the slightest amount of pressure in order to get the product off. If you go in with a really heavy hand, it's going to be really easy to go overboard, so err on the side of less. Then using the spoolie end of it, I just like to comb through my brow to really blend out that brow product, and then also just figure out if I missed any areas so that I can go back in and fill them in. The next thing you want to do is lock in your brows with a brow gel. This is going to help ensure that all of your brow hairs stay in place and will not move at all. So I like to use either a clear brow gel, which is the Benefit 24-Hour Brow Setter, or a darker one that has more of a tint, like a brown tint, which is the Lime Crime Bushy Brow Gel in Smoky. This has been my go-to lately, so we're just going to be using this one. I love the way that the brush has these smaller bristles, so you can really get in there and target every brow hair and make sure that they're in the exact position that you want them. I've been going for more of this bushy brow lately, so I like to brush all of my brow hairs upwards and then outwards. Do you see how this just gives me this nice bushiness going on around here? It's just super pretty. And then sometimes I'll just go back in and with the edge of the brush, run it through the edges of my brow hairs to kind of tame them down a little and make them sit a little bit more flat. So we still have this bushy vibe going on, but it's also like clean at the same time. Now of course this is totally just my personal preference. Feel free to do your brows however you want, but I highly recommend locking them in with any sort of brow gel. Now going back to eyes, I'm just going to curl my lashes and apply mascara. For mascara, I would say just go with your personal favorite mascara. For me, it's Maybelline Snapscara Mascara. I love that this one is so easy to apply, and it's also really easy to take off. Now, this isn't waterproof by any means, so if you plan on crying during a set, like Above and Beyond, which you probably will, I definitely will, this is not the mascara to wear on that night. But other than that, it is a really great mascara. Another reason why I really love this mascara a lot is because I actually did try it out during the summer when it was super hot in LA. And I was outdoors, I was running errands, I was getting sweaty, and this did not budge or transfer at all on me, which was amazing. The formula is also super weightless, so it's not going to weigh down your lashes and feel really heavy. That's another one of my favorite things about it. Okay, so I'm just going to finish up this eye and brow, and we can move on to the rest of this base. Alright, eyes are done, they're looking good, but before we move on to the base, I want to quickly mention one super important thing. Please, please, please make sure to use glitters that are eye safe whenever you're working with any sort of glitter on your eyes. The reason why I really love this Pixie Quad is because these are eye safe. Now, if you're familiar with the ColourPop equivalent of these, which are those ColourPop pressed glitters, you saw them in that festival collection if you're familiar with that. It's like these ones. Don't use these. These are not eye safe, and neither is the Glitterly Obsessed. Like, these are things I highly recommend staying away from on the eyes. Like, please don't put them anywhere near there. It is super dangerous to have any sort of craft glitter or glitter that is not eye safe on your eyes and just like around your eyes, because it can get into your eyes and cut it and then really cause terrible damage. You could literally lose your eyeball. Like, I'm not even kidding. It is not worth the risk. Highly do not recommend it. Also, just from my experience using these ColourPop products, they are literally so hard to remove. Like, I actually really get frustrated using them because they're just super annoying. But these ones are really easy to put on and to take off, so I highly recommend checking out this Pixie Quad. It also comes in 2 different colors, so if you're not digging like the pink and purpley sort of bronzy vibes, there are other options. They have this blue and silver one that looks so perfect for EDC. It also comes with a green one, but I decided to get this one because it's more like a wearable for every day, and pink is just more of my vibe than green and blue. Alright, now that we've got that super important disclaimer out of the way, time to move on to foundation. So for foundation, I highly recommend going lighter as opposed to heavier. So what I mean by this is stick to something like a loose powder. I highly recommend the Blemish Rescue Skin Clearing Loose Powder Foundation. This also has salicylic acid in it, so if you do have acne-prone skin like me, it's going to help to keep your skin clear. Now, I mentioned this in another video, it doesn't necessarily clear my pimples by any means, but it also doesn't break me out, so I like it. The reason why I don't like using any sort of liquids or like those really heavy, full coverage foundations is because they can feel super cakey and uncomfortable. I don't know about you, but whenever I'm really hot, the last thing I want is for my face to feel disgusting and like it's about to slide off and just like super cakey. I can't deal with it. The lighter, the better in my opinion, and it will also wear more beautifully. Okay, so I have some in the cap, and I'm gonna take this brush right here. It's like this dense, packed brush. I'm gonna dip into it, tap off any excess, and then begin to buff this into my skin starting from the inner parts of my face and then working it towards the outer parts. This way you get really beautiful coverage, it's gonna look natural, and this product actually gives you like such a beautiful finish that it will cover things like any sort of redness and acne scarring, that I really don't see the need to go in with any sort of full coverage liquid sort of foundation. Like, you can definitely build this up to become full coverage if you wanted to, you know what I mean? So I'm just gonna go in all over my face with a light layer of this. So as you can tell, I have a bit of natural under eye darkness, so what I like to do is take some additional product just right onto the edge of the brush and press it into my skin. And then just to hit like these inner corner areas that are a bit harder to reach with this brush, I'm actually gonna take a different brush, so either something that is like this, where it's more tapered and you can really like hit that inner corner, it's like the perfect sort of brush, or something like this, where it's double-sided and it has this tip on both sides. Like, it just flares out to this angled tip. So that way you can really press in there and get into these grooves and crevices as well. So I'm just gonna take this one because I just feel like they both work really well. The reason why I like using a powder foundation for this, as opposed to any sort of liquid concealer, is because I find that liquid concealers actually crease on me, and this has such minimal creasing on my under eyes that it just looks beautiful and it just holds up the best all day. Okay, now that I'm looking like Casper the Ghost, time to bring back some warmth into this face. I'm gonna start off with bronzer. So for bronzer, I'm using this one right here from Makeover Essentials. It's the contour kit that used to be sold on Shop Miss A, but unfortunately it is discontinued. Maybelline makes a really great one though, so if you're interested in that one, I'll link it down below. So I'm gonna take this center shade right here, swirl my brush into it, and begin to place this on my cheeks. For bronzer, again, we're just using all powder products because these are going to be lasting all day. And you want something that's going to be mattifying. So powder is that girl. Another thing that's important with bronzer is you want to use one that's going to be long wearing. So you know how sometimes with powder products they can actually disappear? This one doesn't do that for me. And I know the Maybelline one also lasts beautifully, so I highly recommend those too. Well, I mean, I guess I can't really recommend the one I'm using because it doesn't exist anymore, but Maybelline for sure. For this, I'm just applying as I normally would. You basically want to make a 3 on your face, so imagine a 3 going like this. When you contour these areas, it's going to really slim down the face and define your facial features, like your cheeks, your jaw, and the sides of your forehead, and like your temples. If you prefer to use cream products for contouring or just on your face in general, I highly recommend locking in any sort of cream products that you use with a powder. That way it's going to stay all day and be long wearing. I also like to take some contour powder right underneath my nose. It just helps to make it look more lifted and just like nice, so I like to do that. And then I also do it right underneath my lower lip to make it look fuller. For blush, I'm going to be using the Buxom Wanderlust blush in Mykonos. This is a primer infused blush. A little bit goes a long way because it is super pigmented, and it also lasts a really long time. I know that with blushes, they can actually tend to disappear and fade off of your face, but this one, no joke, will just stay on all day. It's so beautiful too. So what I like to do is apply it in this X sort of a shape, and then blend it backwards and upwards for a beautiful blend. You'll see that I'm just basically using these patting motions. I don't want to swipe it like this because I find that that's not going to give me a soft look. It'll just look really harsh. This is going to help it look really nice and blended. Then with whatever's remaining on the brush, I like to just apply it to the tip of my nose because I think it looks really cute. And then again with whatever is on the brush, I just like to hit it on these temples just for a little bit of this extra glow and blushiness. Boom, perfect. Alright, now the last thing for the face is highlighter, but before I do that, I'm actually going to go in with this Pixi Makeup Fixing Mist, spritz my whole face, and then apply a highlighter. The reason why I'm doing this is because this is actually going to not only lock in all of our makeup, set it and keep it in place, but it's going to act as a base for the highlighter to not only sparkle and glow even more than it usually would, but it's also going to help to keep it locked in place. So I like to spritz about, I don't know, maybe like 6, 8, 10 times. I don't know, I don't really count it, but just make sure you get it all over your face, nice and even. You want to make sure to apply the highlighter while your face is still damp. That way the product will just work the best and look super glowy and beautiful, and also be able to dry down with the setting spray. So today I'm going to be using this Lime Crime Unicorns Highlight Palette, and I'm going to be dipping into the pink shade. So it is this one right here. This is so beautiful and just magical and perfect for EDC, like literally unicorn vibes. It's like the most beautiful pinky sort of highlighter that just has this beautiful reflect to it. Do you see that? I love it. I feel like it also has a little bit of purplish going on, which just makes it look so cool. Again, I'm just gonna squeeze the brush to get some more precision, pick up some of that highlight and hit it right on the Cupid's bow. And right on the tip of the nose as well. And also right below the brows for some extra highlight. I feel like there's really no such thing as too much highlight, like I could bathe in this. Now moving on to lips, I'm going to be applying the Maybelline Superstay Matte Ink in Inspire, and then I'm just going to go over it with this Buxom Holographic Lip Gloss in the shade Iris, right in the center of the lips to give me a nice beautiful highlight. This is going to help the lips appear more plump and bigger, and it also helps the Maybelline Superstay Matte Ink to not dry out your lips. I find that this formula is super long lasting, beautiful, will literally last you through everything. I've showered with this and it still stayed on. I am convinced this is the #1 matte liquid lipstick. But the only thing is, sometimes I notice it does dry out my lips. So I find that pairing it with a gloss really helps it to wear beautifully and not dry out my lips. It also makes for easier removal. This lipstick is really great because you don't have to worry about touching it up throughout EDC. You just apply it once before you head out and you're good to go. Alright, and now to really finish off the whole look, we're gonna go back in with another round of the Pixie Makeup Fixing Mist to really lock everything in and keep it in place. Another tip that I have is eyelash glue. So if you're gonna be applying any sort of face gems or loose glitter on your face, definitely apply this first and then apply those on afterwards. I just don't trust the sticky adhesive on face gems at all, especially if you're gonna be wearing makeup. Just, there's no way, it's not gonna stick. So apply a layer of this and then stick on the face gems and you'll thank me later. Now when it comes to loose glitter, what I like to do is basically apply this as like a highlight. So I'll apply the eyeshadow glue as a base, just like right here, and then go over top of it with loose glitter. And then that way, not only will it stay on all throughout EDC, but when it comes time to take it off, removal is gonna be so easy. All you have to do is peel it off just like you would with an eyelash and everything will come off so easily. With any sort of glitter gel, I just find that taking it off can make such a huge mess, especially with these freaking ColourPop ones. Where's it at? Glitterly Obsessed? Literally not obsessed with you because it's so hard to remove. But this and loose glitter, try it out, you will thank me later for sure. So that is it. That is how I achieve a flawless makeup look that is going to last all throughout EDC, a rave, a music festival, any sort of place where it's going to be hot and sweaty. Drop a comment down below letting me know if you found this video helpful, and also if you have any additional tips of how to keep your makeup lasting all throughout EDC. If you like this video, make sure to give it a big thumbs up. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all next time. Bye! Show them.